Hi, my name is Colette Rabba and I'm with Orion Realty. I'm a residential real estate broker in the GTA West, an income property specialist, and an investor myself. The reason why Araceli and I like to do this show is because we're both investors and we love to give great information to viewers and listeners just like you.
Welcome everyone. My name is Araceli, Transition Wealth Advisor and investor in the US and Canada. And in my weekly call with Colette, we have something to tell you today. Colette, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Hi, everybody. My name is Colette Rabba. I'm a residential real estate broker in the GTA. A lot of exciting stuff going on out there. Some question that Araceli and I get quite often, which is about income properties. That's why Araceli and I like to do the show. We love talking about income properties and how there are different kinds of income properties. So today we thought we'll just talk about one little snippet of the bigger picture, which is if you want to get into house flipping. So what is house flipping? Do you want to start with that?
So basically house flipping is you get a property, you acquire a property that you're going to do some work in it and then you're going to resell it for a profit. That's basically what it is. And if you're thinking about doing that, we have certain criteria, at least I do have certain criteria that I use. And it also depends on the level of repairs that you want to do. Sometimes you run into houses that they don't need only a paint job and maybe a couple of things to be fixed. Others, they need a lot more to do, right? So the ones that I used to do, because I bought them at auction, they need pretty much everything done. So, but there's still criteria that we have as a measure, because you can have a property that requires a lot more work if the area is better. So always location is one of the first things that we look at. Do you agree with that, Colette?
Yes, absolutely. So we just Araceli and I have both looked at houses to flip. I have personally never done that, only because the way that my investing kind of brain works is to buy and hold. So even though I know there was a really great time to do this flipping in the GTA, Araceli actually does properties in the US, so there's a little bit more room to breathe, let's say. So we came up with three really main things that easily and quickly you can look at a house and figure it out without sometimes even going to see it. So based on the MLS pictures, based on the area, and based on a few other things that the listing will show us. Sometimes we don't even have to see a house. So let's get started. We have the top three things to look at a house to know if it's worth flipping. So number one is know your numbers. So that is the one thing that I always encourage people to understand how to analyze a property. And I have videos on more detailed explanation on that. But for now is know your numbers, because now we have the internet. We have lots of information, right? And sometimes you want to analyze different properties, especially if they're not close to you. But at least you say, okay, well, let's take a look and see how much they're asking for, how much do I think I need to put into this house, and how much I can sell it for, right? There's also one other little thing in there that is very, very important. Flipping takes time, especially if you have to go to the city for permits. So this is called carrying costs. You have to figure out how much the taxes are, how much the utilities are, if it's a condo and their condo fees. So all that goes into number one, which is the numbers, and figuring out the bigger picture that you buy it for this much, you carry it for this much, and you can sell it for this much. And hopefully the numbers, you'll actually make money, right?
Yeah, and it depends on where it is. If you have a mortgage on the property, that might be a little bit more difficult, because if you were planning to finish that in 6 months, and let's say you can't sell it or you can't finish the property,
right?
Now you have to carry the cost for
longer.
How many more months, right? So that could eat into your profit big time.
Right, and look at, for a great example of that is COVID. Nobody expected COVID to stop the world. So, and we're still paying for it as far as supply chain. So even things like appliances, to say, okay, I need a new fridge for this. Oh yeah, you have to wait another few weeks for just one appliance. So things like that, you always have to have a little bit of room, a little bit of padding, not just with money, but also with time. So let's go on to number 2.
Number 2 is do check the bones of the house, right? And basically there's 6 things that I look for. It's very easy for me to remember. 3 things outside, 3 things inside, right? And those are the ones that are the big ticket items that you're always gonna have to repair somehow. So the outside is very easy to remember. You go the foundation, the windows, and the roof.
Yeah, so right? Top, bottom, and in between.
In the middle, right? And the 3 things inside will be the mechanicals. So all your furnace, AC, anything that can break like that. And then you have the electrical and your plumbing. Those are the things that are very, very high ticket items. So if you have them, if you know that a property already has been upgraded for the electrical, great. You may have to move a couple of things here and there, but it's not that much. If you have to remove wiring, or you have to rewire an entire area, you may need a permit. You may need to have somebody that is certified electrician to do that, and the same with plumbing. If you are adding a bathroom, or you're moving a bathroom or a kitchen, that's a big expense as well.
Right. And to go back to the other things too, like foundation and roof, those are the most expensive. So our top 6 list of bones includes the most expensive things of an actual structure. So when you look at it, and it's not just about houses, it could also be commercial properties or even condos. So when you look at that, you want to look at, and obviously you're not buying the whole building when it's a condo, you're buying the unit, but you also still have to see there's even more stuff. And when that comes down to it, there are other things that you have to really research before you buy a condo to flip. So
that is number 3, remember?
Right, so number 3 is research. Do your research. So that includes on the area, that includes on how much things will cost to replace, and your labor, the labor cost to get a plumber, get an electrician, get a roofer, even if there's structural damage, to find out how much these things cost before you actually, might be a great deal. It might be a great find, because a lot of people are scared of these bigger things. So, if you're comfortable, it's not your first flip, you can be doing your research about those things that are a really big deal, and it might be something that has to do with the foundation. But you know what? Araceli and I always say, there's always a solution. So knowing the solution before you even put 1 penny down is what you have to do. So that's our top 3 things.
Yeah.
Anything you can add to the research part?
Well, the research is, what I wanted to tell you is, sometimes you have to go very granular on the area. At least this is what I've experienced in the US.
Yes.
I've seen areas that they can be 2 blocks away, and the prices of houses are completely different.
Right.
You always have to look at the fair market value, the finishes of the property. You don't want to overspend, and obviously make sure that there is a market for it. What is close by? Is it for families to buy the property or for renters? So
right.
There's 2 different things. So there's so many little granular things that you need to think about when you do your research, especially if it's not the area that you live in.
Well, and the one thing that I have to say, which I've actually helped people when, never mind, I think ultimately it's to find maybe that should be number 4, to find your experts in the area and to find the experts that can help you with the deal. Because when you look at somebody who knows the area, they might know that there was a factory that, leaked really bad chemicals into the soil. So things like that falls under the research category, but also at the same time, exactly what Zoe, I'm sorry, my daughter Zoe, that's so funny. Exactly what Araceli said. Like, to really understand who your end buyer is when you go to sell it. So that is research right there too, to know who's actually interested in buying this area to live here. So to me, that they all go hand in hand, right? Research,
Absolutely.
numbers, bones. You have to know what everything costs. That's,
And that's why
everything
sometimes,
touches money, right?
of course, and that's why it's so hard for people to get into real estate sometimes, because there is so many moving parts and you need to time them. It's not only about doing each one separately, but they all kind of tied in together, and it is hard to time them properly.
Right.
That
But
is what is important.
it's also hard to have faith in your abilities and in your goals.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you say, "Oh my God, I love." How many times do I hear that a day? Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to own an income property. I would love to do this. Okay, but do you really know? Like, do you love the idea of being a landlord? Maybe not. Are you okay with getting your hands dirty? Like, you're physically, it's time or money. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, you better be spending a lot. And then what is that going to look like at your end sale price?
Yeah.
If you have to pay more people than yourself. So all these things, it's really, really difficult to say, yeah, I'm going to jump. I'm going to do this.
That's
So
right.
start slow. Start slow.
That's right. It starts slow. I always recommend that. First of all, if you analyze your financial position, then you'll have an idea what you can do. Some people
Number
have
one.
a lot of money put aside that they're not using. They are able to do a little bit more. And then obviously check your skills, your abilities, your willingness, your time commitment. All of that plays a big part in it. But if
Yeah.
you're looking to do some house flipping, just remember there's three things that you need to look at. One is know your numbers. Make sure that you know how to analyze the property. Second, look at the bones of the property. If you see that it could have a potential, but you don't want to do as much work, it might not be the one that you need to do. And the last thing is research. From the area to the materials, labor that it's there, because I've seen it, Canada and the US, way different for materials and labor.
Oh, yeah.
And do your comparables. Make sure that you know that what the houses worth.
And have fun.
And have fun, of course.
That's not top three. That's extra.
Yeah, it's extra, for sure. Okay, so I hope this helps, and you can get yourself into your first, second, or third flipping property.
It's so exciting. That's the one thing that you have to remember. It's actually really exciting to do stuff like that. So that's why Araceli and I love talking about it. We want to motivate you to try, at least, check it out. Talk to us. We'll help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Colette. We'll see you at the next one.
Thanks, Araceli. Bye. Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more information or if you have any questions, please go to my website at www.coletterabba.com.